Yeah, we've been actually seeing a lot of the talk about that over on social media. A lot of people have been bringing up issues. The BOE has been very quick to answer a lot of those on social media and to answer some of our questions right now. Joining us right now, the Board of Elections Secretary and the Bronx Commissioner, Miguelina Camilo. Miguelina, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. So right now I want to ask, do you have any information for us? How many people voted here across New York City? Do we have that information yet?
We only have a set number for the early voting turnout, which was 191,000. I am feverishly checking our systems to see as the results are coming in because, as you mentioned, the poll sites are closing. So all the results are being uploaded from each site, and we should be having results. I don't have the exact number on turnout right now.
We'll be checking in with you as those results come
absolutely.
in. But of course, ranked choice voting, the big topic of conversation with this citywide election. It's the first time it's been used in a citywide election. We heard from Eric about some complications, or as he put it, snafus with ranked choice voting at that Bronx poll site. Miguelina, any issues that you've encountered from your observations out there on the ground today?
At the poll sites that I visited and heard from, our poll workers were really dedicated to handing out those palm cards and trying to instruct as best as possible, each voter how to correctly fill out the ballot. But certainly we were also hearing some people kind of working through the ballot because it was a lot of information. It was a 2-page ballot, front and back, a lot of candidates, a lot of offices. So, people worked through it, I think.
Miguelina, I'm going to give you your chance there to find out those numbers. I know as they're coming in as the polls have just closed, but we did hear a lot about those ranked choice voting issues and people with their ballots that, they were putting ballots into the machines, they were getting sent back to them as invalid, and they were getting another opportunity to fill out their ballots. What was going on there as far as giving people a chance to make sure their vote was done properly and that it would count properly?
Certainly. So one of the main things as far as the ballot being filled in correctly, ranking those candidates, not choosing one candidate for all your columns, people realizing the mistake and asking for another ballot. So we did have voided ballots. We had the opportunity given for voters to get, a ballot so that they could submit their information correctly. So that is the most that we saw at the poll sites. It really was a long day, and our poll workers were there throughout the early voting, which was, really quiet and really kind of seamless, at least operationally. We didn't have a lot of issues with our machines. We had our poll workers present. So what the voters were experiencing, might have been just experiencing ranked choice voting for the first time. I've said it. I voted, and it took me a few minutes to work through the ballot, and I know the system.
That's true.
Just some growing pains as we learn more about ranked choice voting. And you mentioned that it was a long day, and it will probably be a long process until we know the results, likely because of ranked choice voting and having to meet that 50% threshold to officially win the race. Miguelina, any timeline on when we could see results as we proceed beyond tonight?
Yeah, so the timelines that we're working with correlate to the absentee ballot deadlines. We are going to accept absentee ballots that are postmarked June 22nd, but we will wait up until next week to see what comes in the mail. We also have a mandate by executive order that if there are any curable defects on those envelopes, that we give the voter another opportunity to cure their envelope. And then those envelopes have to be synced to the system of people that voted in person, because we want to make sure that if you voted in person and you also submitted an absentee ballot, that we're not double counting. So operationally, these are the things that our staff will be going through in the next couple of days. I assure the city of New York that we are working every day, day in and day out, to make sure that we get those votes counted as quickly as possible.
And Miguelina, something you have been talking about for weeks now is that the transparency is very important for the Board of Elections when we're talking about what's going on with these results. You want everybody to know what's happening as it's happening. And to that end, you've given that timeline as far as when ranked choice voting results are going to be in. And that's led some people to ask, well, why is it going to take a week for us to get any kind of ranked choice voting results? Can you explain why we have to take that amount of time, or at least any amount of time here, before we can start figuring out who won on the ranked choice voting side of things?
Well, we've already communicated that the first rounds we will be doing early next week, and that again is a matter of operation. Everybody went to vote in person at over 1,600 sites in all the city. Those machines are on site as we speak. They have to get physically back to our warehouses. That's going to take a day or two. Then those machines have to be synced as well. And our staff has to be able to sync the poll pad. So operationally, it's not just a magic button. That data has to come back to our offices so then we can do properly the rounds. And again, tonight's unofficial results will even tell us if we have to do rounds in certain districts. Most likely we will in most races, but we have to wait to see if unofficial results show that anyone got 50% or more in their category.
Miguelina, so much to understand. Thank you so much for breaking it down for us tonight.